What do you think would happen if you planted the Three Sisters garden directly into an established lawn? Didn't weed it, water it, or prepare the area at all. Just dig a hole, throw the seeds in, throw some dirt on top, walk away. The Three Sisters garden method is an intercropping garden of corn, beans, and squash developed 3,000 or 4,000 years ago right here on Turtle Island by some very smart people. It's been 38 days since I put the corn in the ground. And again, we put the beans and the squash in the ground a couple of weeks after that. I want to take a second and talk about the seeds that I picked to put in the garden. A lot of the corn seed that you have available to you right now, it's been bred selectively, specifically Hopi blue flower corn has been being grown every year in the United States for thousands of years. What first got my attention was the fact that it's very drought tolerant. And when I was first getting into the Three Sisters garden, I wanted to do it for seed saving, for survival seeds. And I thought, this plant is extremely drought tolerant. It's exactly what I want to have on hand so that even in a drought, I can grow a bunch of corn. That's how I found it. I then learned that traditionally it can be planted very deep in the earth because they grow it in the desert. So they dig a hole until they find moist soil, and that's where they put the seed. At that level, even if it's a foot down, they plant their corn all the way down there, and then bury it with nice loose soil. And they plant many seeds in one hole of this variety, and it still grows up through all that soil, through a foot of sand. Up comes this corn. And what I've learned is that trait that it has works well here in Wisconsin, even when we're having a very wet spring like we are now, because I planted that seed down deep below the root mass of the grass. I planted all the stations in different ways. Some of them I dug a 5-inch deep hole, threw the corn in, put dirt back on top. Other ones I just poked a hole in the ground, dropped the seed in, didn't do anything. Really every different way to plant a seed in the ground below the level of grass roots, I tried it. I wanted to see which ones would work better in an established lawn. And they all germinated. So what I've learned is that if you get the seed below the roots of the grass, it's going to germinate. And I really want to make the point that I dug a hole in the ground, I threw the corn in. A couple of weeks later, I dug another hole in the ground, I threw the beans and the squash in, and I'm doing nothing else. Hopi blue flower corn, planted first right in your lawn. A couple of weeks later, when the corn's 5 inches tall, whatever, you plant your beans and your squash. Or maybe you plant your squash at the same time as the corn, I don't know. I don't think it matters. And it's gonna grow, and you can grow a ton of it. I planted 60 stations total for corn, beans, and squash. I spent less than 2 hours. Or grow the garden in your backyard, harvest your own seeds, even better, and then it costs you nothing. And it's there. All right, I think it's time for an update. A day 46 update. All in all, I planted 60 stations of the Three Sisters garden. I didn't weed it, water it, or apply pesticide. And I'm not going to do anything else. I'm going to let that grass and those weeds grow right up alongside my garden. And I hope to demonstrate that if you plant these seeds, these specific seeds, that you can grow this garden in your established lawn. It's hot today. We're coming up on a day 52 update. So I had mentioned that I don't have the gardening community around me, and I'm really thankful. And the reason I'm thankful is because if I did, I just about guarantee when I hatched this plan, started this project, I really didn't even have the yard to do it. My kids use my backyard that I haven't already filled up with my raised beds. So I had to solicit my services to one of my customers for free for the opportunity to grow the Three Sisters garden that I've showed you on their property. I'm going to save those seeds. Here's why. One station, one mound of the Three Sisters garden will produce enough seeds that if I took those seeds, replanted them next year, just one mound, one station of the 60 that I planted, replant those seeds, I could grow a garden big enough to provide one person with every single calorie that they would need for a whole year. And that's at the minimum one person. There's nobody that has these seeds they hand to me and say, here you go, I know things suck right now, go out and plant this garden and your family can get their belly full in 100 days. And that's why I'm making this video, to prove to you you don't have to know anything. I drop these seeds directly into a lawn. Everybody's got a lawn, almost everybody, a lot of people. You don't have to know anything. You got to get these seeds down below the root mass of the grass, and that's it. All right, so things are waist high on me. I've got short legs, so probably not waist high on you. Pencil thin down at the ground. Pencil thin. I think we're on day 60. So, is it all right if your corn is pencil thin when it's waist high, if it's only got one leaf collar? Leaf collar. So this would be the second leaf collar here for this one. Leaf collar, leaf collar. Pincer bug.
Ew.
Leaf. Hey, garden's looking great. I hope you agree. I don't know about this squash. Wow, your garden looks amazing. You must spend a lot of time on it.
Yeah, I do. Prune, water, and fertilize regular, and yields are fantastic, but it takes a lot of effort.
It definitely shows. But you know, I have a garden too, and I hardly do anything.
Really? How does it look?
It's a bit wild and not as neat, but I still get some pretty good yields without all the extra work.
That's interesting.
July 2nd. I don't know exactly off the top of my head how many days it's been
64.
with the corn in the ground, but I'm guessing 62, 63 days. So you'll see in the footage that I'm sharing, it's still not very thick. It looks green, it looks good. If I drove by a farmer's field and their corn looked as healthy as mine, I wouldn't think there was something wrong. But I am concerned that it's not growing fast enough. So if you've watched some of my other videos, you'll know that I planted the Three Sisters garden for a long time, many seasons. Here's what I've always done it at my garden at home, where I kept the weeds down. I didn't plant them too closely together. I put 4 or 5 That's a flower.
First thing this morning, when this big old grapevine beetle came to visit me, I didn't realize that today was going to be about bugs. Maybe I should have. So I saw this little fella a couple of weeks ago, and before I could get a video, he evaded me, just like he's doing now. I hope you got a chance to see him. All right. Oh, there he goes. Do you see him? I work outside all year, every year. When I get done with work, I go outside in my yard most of the year, and I might only see a handful of praying mantis. They're just not that common, at least as far as I can tell. So this is exciting. You are more than welcome here. Other than the praying mantis, today I observed Asian beetles eating my corn. Lots of earwigs down in the curled leaves. I think that they can eat the pollen of the corn, but also some other pest bugs if they want. I don't really know. I think I took a picture of some moths that were dancing in the garden.